wake up every morning, look at your schedule, and feel like a soldier of fortune, handling work tasks, fulfilling family responsibilities, and keeping friends happy. The more you try to please everyone, the more drained you feel. How many times have you thought to yourself, when will I finally start living for me? Don't get it wrong. This isn't some overused philosophical lecture. This is a call to action, a step-by-step guide to reclaim control over your life. We're not talking about how to make others like you. Instead, we're going to explore how to make them crave your presence. The answer is surprisingly simple: silence and strategic withdrawal. It may sound counterintuitive, but think about it. Why are luxury goods so coveted? Why do you feel drawn to someone who says little yet commands attention? It's because scarcity and mystery are two of the most powerful forces in human psychology. When you're not easily accessible, your value skyrockets. In the next 45 minutes, we'll uncover how to use silence and distance as tools to command respect, elevate your self-worth, and attract the relationships you truly deserve. This isn't just theory. We'll dive into practical steps you can apply today to start seeing immediate changes in how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. You don't have to apologize for wanting more out of life. This isn't about manipulation. It's about respecting yourself and letting others do the same. So are you ready? Let's begin with a question. Why should I keep chasing validation from others when my real value has always been within me? Number 1, the principle of scarcity, the value of silence and distance. Picture this. One day, you decide to take a step back. You stop being the one who answers every message immediately, who's always available whenever someone needs something. At first, people may find it strange, but soon they start to wonder, what's going on? Why has he changed? Why isn't he as reachable as before? This is the power of scarcity and distance. By reducing your availability, you not only capture attention, but also make people reevaluate your worth. This isn't manipulation. It's a deliberate move to assert your value in a world where things taken for granted are often undervalued. Humans have a natural tendency to desire what they cannot easily have. Think about luxury items, a limited edition watch, a rare car model. These things aren't just expensive because of their craftsmanship. Their rarity is what drives their allure. The same principle applies to relationships and interactions. When you're always accessible, always predictable, you risk being taken for granted. But when you create space, when you step back, you allow your value to shine through. Suddenly, people start noticing the void you've left behind. Silence and distance are not just about doing less. They are powerful tools for commanding attention and respect. Imagine someone in your life who speaks sparingly. They aren't loud or overly expressive, yet somehow their presence lingers. Why? Because silence creates curiosity. It forces others to fill in the gaps, to wonder about what you're thinking, what you'll do next. Similarly, distance makes people reflect on your importance. When you're not readily available, they're left to question, why isn't he responding? What is he up to? This principle works everywhere, from personal relationships to professional settings. In the workplace, if you're the person who always takes on every task, your contributions can start to feel expected rather than appreciated. But when you selectively choose where to invest your time, your input becomes more valuable. Similarly, in friendships or romantic relationships, if you're always initiating conversations or making plans, others might begin to assume it's your responsibility. By pulling back, you give them the chance to step forward and recognize your significance. If you want to implement the principle of scarcity in your life, start with these practical steps. First, control how often you respond. If you're someone who replies to texts or calls immediately, try delaying your response. This doesn't mean ignoring people. It means setting boundaries and allowing yourself time to think before engaging. Second, stop oversharing. If you're used to broadcasting your every move or plan, hold some things back. Let others wonder what you're doing or where you're going. Third, limit your online presence. Reduce how often you post on social media. When you share less, your updates become more meaningful and impactful. As you embrace these practices, you'll begin to notice significant changes. People will start paying closer attention to your words and actions. They'll respect your time and space more. Most importantly, you'll feel a renewed sense of control over your interactions. You'll no longer be at the mercy of constant demands or expectations. Instead, you'll command the room without having to say a word. The power of scarcity isn't about disappearing entirely. It's about being intentional with your presence. Your value doesn't lie in how often you show up, but in how deeply you make others feel when you're there. Scarcity isn't absence, it's a statement of self-worth. When you master the art of stepping back, you don't just change how others see you, you transform how you see yourself. Number 2, the power of silence, building respect without a word. Silence. It's one of the most underrated yet powerful tools you can use to command respect and attention. In a world where everyone is shouting, posting, and sharing every fleeting thought, silence is rare. And what's rare is always valuable. Imagine walking into a room where everyone is vying for attention, throwing opinions around like confetti. Then there's you, calm, composed, and measured. You don't speak unless you have something meaningful to say. Suddenly, everyone is curious. They wonder, what is he thinking? This is the power of silence. It isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of authority. Silence disrupts expectations. Most people are accustomed to others filling every gap in conversation, rushing to explain themselves or justify their actions. But when you choose to remain silent, you break the pattern. That disruption forces others to reevaluate how they approach you. Your silence becomes a pause, a deliberate, calculated moment that shifts the power dynamic in your favor. Think of it this way. When everyone else is playing chess at lightning speed, you're the player who pauses, evaluates the board, and makes a move so unexpected that it changes the entire game. Silence also creates mystery. People are naturally drawn to what they don't understand. The less you say, the more they have to fill in the blanks themselves, and this act of filling in creates an emotional investment in you. Imagine someone who always shares everything about their life. They're like an open book. At first, it might seem refreshing, but over time, it becomes predictable. Now, think about the person who says little but listens intently, who doesn't overshare but reveals just enough to keep you intrigued. That's the kind of presence that lingers in people's minds long after you've left the room. In relationships, be they professional or personal, silence can be a game changer. For example, let's say you've been wronged or overlooked. The instinctive reaction might be to confront the issue head-on, to speak out and demand recognition. But sometimes, saying nothing speaks louder than any words you could use. When you choose silence, you communicate that you're above the pettiness of the situation. You're not ignoring the issue. You're signaling that your value isn't up for debate. This kind of composure commands respect. It forces others to reflect on their actions and recognize your strength. Silence is not passive, it's active. It's a tool that requires intention and practice. For instance, think about how you respond to conflict. The next time someone provokes you, instead of reacting immediately, pause. Let the silence settle. This creates an uncomfortable void for the other person, and in that void they often reveal more about themselves than they intended. Silence also buys you time to assess the situation and respond with clarity rather than with emotion. This is especially effective in professional settings. If a colleague tries to undermine you in a meeting, instead of jumping into a defensive argument, stay quiet. Observe the room, let the tension build, and then speak with precision when the moment is right. Your words will carry more weight because they're backed by the authority of silence. Practical application is key to mastering this skill. Start by practicing silence in your everyday interactions. If you're someone who often feels the need to fill awkward silences, resist the urge. Instead, embrace the discomfort. Let others speak first and watch how the conversation naturally gravitates toward your perspective when you finally contribute. In written communication, such as emails or texts, try withholding details. For example, if someone asks why you declined an invitation, simply say, "I have other commitments." No explanation is needed. Silence in this context creates boundaries and asserts your priorities without room for negotiation. Another way to use silence effectively is by setting clear pauses in your conversations. For instance, if someone asks a question, don't rush to answer. Take a moment to think, even if you already know what to say. That pause creates an impression of thoughtfulness and confidence. People are more likely to respect someone who appears deliberate rather than impulsive. Over time, you'll notice that your silence speaks volumes. It communicates that you're in control, that you don't feel the need to justify yourself to anyone. But silence is more than just a strategy. It's also a shield. In a world full of noise, your silence protects your energy. It allows you to conserve your emotional reserves and focus on what truly matters. Every time you choose not to engage in unnecessary drama or over-explain your actions, you're reclaiming a piece of your peace. Imagine the strength it takes to remain calm in the face of chaos. That's the power you're building when you master silence. You become unshakable, untouchable, and undeniably respected. The results of mastering silence are transformative. People will begin to see you in a new light. They'll respect your boundaries and think twice before overstepping them. They'll value your input more because it's no longer readily available at all times. Most importantly, you'll feel a shift within yourself. You'll no longer feel the need to constantly explain, prove, or defend your worth. Instead, your silence will become a statement, a declaration that your value isn't negotiable. So the next time you're tempted to fill the silence, remember this: silence is not a void, it's a presence. It's not weakness, it's strength. And when used correctly, it's one of the most powerful tools you have for building respect, commanding attention, and protecting your peace. Let your silence speak louder than your words ever could. Number 3, honoring your self-worth. Stop chasing validation. Take a moment to reflect on this question. How much of your energy have you spent chasing validation from others? Whether it's in your personal relationships, your career, or even casual interactions, there's a good chance you found yourself bending over backward to prove your value to someone who didn't appreciate it. It's exhausting, isn't it? Constantly giving, explaining, and justifying yourself, hoping to be seen, heard, and valued. But here's the truth. Your worth was never meant to be dictated by someone else's acknowledgement. When you tie your self-worth to how others perceive you, you hand over the reins of your life. Suddenly, their opinions, reactions, and approval define your decisions. You find yourself saying yes to things you don't want, apologizing for boundaries that should never need explaining, and seeking validation in places where it will never truly be given. This cycle is not only draining, it's a disservice to the person you're meant to be. It's time to break free. Honoring your self-worth begins with recognizing one simple fact. You don't need anyone's permission to value yourself. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about understanding that your time, energy, and presence are not commodities to be handed out to anyone who asks. You are not an endless well for others to draw from, nor are you a backup plan for someone else's convenience. Your worth is inherent. It doesn't need to be proven or justified. Imagine you're a craftsman working on a masterpiece. Each stroke of your brush or chisel is deliberate, precise, and valuable. Would you hand over that masterpiece to someone who doesn't appreciate its beauty or effort? Of course not. So why would you treat your time, your energy, or your boundaries any differently? Every moment you spend chasing approval or trying to prove your worth is a moment wasted on someone who may never value you the way you deserve. Instead, redirect that energy toward those who see your value without you having to prove it. One of the most powerful ways to honor your self-worth is by setting and enforcing boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're guidelines that teach others how to treat you. They protect your time, your energy, and your peace. For example, if someone consistently disrespects your time by showing up late or canceling plans last minute, enforcing a boundary might look like declining future invitations. It's not about being spiteful. It's about respecting yourself enough to say, "My time is valuable, and I won't allow it to be wasted." Another critical aspect of self-worth is learning to stop over-explaining. Have you ever found yourself justifying your decisions to someone who didn't even deserve an explanation? Perhaps you declined an invitation and felt the need to elaborate on why you couldn't attend. Or you made a choice that benefited you and felt compelled to defend it. Here's a liberating truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for doing what's right for you. A simple "no, thank you," or "that doesn't work for me," is enough. Your boundaries are valid. even if no one else understands them. Building self-worth also requires breaking free from the habit of seeking external validation. The moment you stop looking outward for approval is the moment you reclaim your power. Think about it. The more you chase validation, the more you reinforce the idea that you're incomplete without it. But when you stop seeking it, you send a clear message to the world and to yourself that your worth isn't up for negotiation. Validation that comes from within is far more fulfilling and enduring than anything you could ever receive from someone else. So how do you begin honoring your self-worth in practical terms? Start by reassessing your priorities. Ask yourself, who and what deserves my energy? Make a list of the people, activities, and goals that genuinely add value to your life and focus your efforts there. At the same time, identify the relationships or commitments that leave you feeling drained and unfulfilled, and start creating distance. This might mean saying no more often, stepping back from relationships that feel one-sided, or simply carving out time for yourself without guilt. Another powerful exercise is to remind yourself daily of your inherent value. Create a mantra that resonates with you, such as, "I am enough as I am," or "I don't need to prove my worth to anyone." Repeat this mantra to yourself in moments of doubt, and let it become a guiding force in your life. Over time, this practice will help rewire your thinking, allowing you to stand tall in your self-worth, regardless of how others perceive you. The results of honoring your self-worth are transformative. You'll notice that people begin treating you with more respect, not because they've changed, but because you've changed how you allow them to treat you. You'll feel a newfound sense of confidence, knowing that you no longer need external validation to feel whole. And most importantly, you'll find peace in the knowledge that your worth has always been and will always be yours to define. So let this be your reminder. You are not an afterthought. You are not a convenience or a fallback option. You are the main event, the masterpiece, the prize. When you start living as though you believe it, the world will begin to believe it too. And in the process, you'll discover that the greatest validation doesn't come from others, it comes from within. Number 4, elevating yourself through growth and renewal. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and seeing not just the person you are today, but the person you have the potential to become. The question is, are you willing to put in the work to become that person? Elevating yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, is not about seeking validation from others. It's about taking charge of your life and committing to continuous growth. When you grow and renew yourself, you don't just change how you see the world, you change how the world sees you. Growth begins with the decision to stop waiting for someone else to save you or recognize your potential. Too often, we get stuck in a loop of thinking that once a certain person notices us, once we land that perfect job, or once we achieve a specific milestone, we'll finally feel complete. But here's the truth. No external circumstance will ever be enough if you don't first value yourself. The process of self-renewal starts when you stop looking outward and begin looking inward. It's about asking yourself, what areas of my life need improvement? And then taking deliberate steps to address them. One of the most powerful ways to elevate yourself is to focus on your physical well-being. Your body is the vessel through which you experience life, and how you treat it reflects how you value yourself. This doesn't mean chasing unrealistic fitness goals or obsessing over your appearance. Instead, it's about prioritizing health and vitality. Start small. Commit to walking for 30 minutes a day, drinking more water, or making healthier food choices. These small changes, when done consistently, will have a compounding effect over time. As you begin to feel stronger and more energized, you'll notice a shift, not just in how you look, but in how you carry yourself. Confidence radiates from within, and taking care of your body is the foundation of that inner strength. Beyond the physical, growth also involves nourishing your mind. Think of your mind as a garden. What you feed it will determine what grows. Are you planting seeds of knowledge, curiosity, and positivity, or are you allowing weeds of negativity and self-doubt to take over? Elevating your mental state requires conscious effort. Commit to learning something new every day. It could be as simple as reading a chapter of a book, watching an insightful documentary, or practicing a skill you've always wanted to master. These actions not only keep your mind sharp, but also remind you that growth is a lifelong journey. Another key to self-renewal is emotional growth. This is often the most challenging area to address because it requires you to confront your vulnerabilities and past wounds. Emotional growth is about learning to process your feelings without letting them control you. It's about setting boundaries to protect your peace and letting go of grudges that no longer serve you. Journaling can be a powerful tool here. Take time each day to write about what you're feeling and why. Over time, this practice will help you identify patterns in your emotions and develop strategies for managing them. The more emotionally resilient you become, the less external circumstances will have the power to disrupt your inner peace. Renewal is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process. Just as seasons change, you must be willing to shed old habits, beliefs, and relationships that no longer align with who you're becoming. Think of it like pruning a tree. By cutting away dead or overgrown branches, you create space for new growth. This can be difficult, especially if it means letting go of people or routines that once felt comfortable. But remember, growth often requires discomfort. When you embrace that discomfort, you open the door to transformation. As you grow and renew yourself, something remarkable happens. You begin to radiate an energy that is impossible to ignore. This isn't about boasting or showing off your achievements. It's a quiet, confident presence that others can't help but notice. They'll wonder what's changed about you, even if you've never said a word. That's the power of growth. It speaks for itself. When you invest in yourself, you send a message to the world that you are someone worth investing in. Practical steps for self-renewal are essential for sustaining this transformation. Start by creating a daily routine that aligns with your goals. For instance, if physical health is a priority, schedule regular workouts and meal prep sessions. If mental growth is your focus, dedicate time each day to reading or skill building. And if emotional well-being is your goal, incorporate practices like meditation, therapy, or gratitude journaling into your routine. Consistency is the key to lasting change. It's also important to celebrate your progress along the way. Growth isn't a straight line, and there will be setbacks. Instead of focusing on what you haven't achieved yet, take time to acknowledge how far you've come. Each small victory is a step closer to the person you're becoming. And each challenge you overcome makes you stronger. The ultimate goal of growth and renewal is not to impress others, but to live a life that feels authentic and fulfilling to you. When you prioritize your well-being, you create a solid foundation for every other aspect of your life. Your relationships improve because you're no longer seeking validation from others. You're bringing your best self to the table. Your career flourishes because you're operating from a place of confidence and clarity. Most importantly, you experience a sense of peace and purpose that no external validation could ever provide. So ask yourself this: what is one area of your life that you can start improving today? It doesn't have to be a massive change. Even the smallest steps can set the wheels of transformation in motion. Remember, growth is not about perfection, it's about progress. Each day is an opportunity to become a better version of yourself, and each effort you make is an investment in the life you truly deserve. Let this be your mantra. I am committed to my growth, and I welcome the transformation it brings. Say it, believe it, and let it guide your actions. Because when you choose to elevate yourself, you're not just changing your life, you're creating a ripple effect that will inspire everyone around you. Growth is contagious, and your commitment to renewal could be the catalyst that sparks change in someone else's journey. So don't wait. Start today, and watch as the person in the mirror becomes someone you're proud of. Number 5, the art of saying no. Setting boundaries that protect your peace. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do? Maybe it was out of guilt, maybe it was to avoid conflict, or maybe you simply felt obligated. But every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to your own peace, your own priorities, and your own well-being. This is the harsh truth. If you don't set your own boundaries, others will set them for you. And those boundaries will almost never prioritize your happiness. Saying no is not about being selfish or rude. It's about being unapologetically clear about what matters to you and protecting your energy. Think about it. Your time and energy are finite resources. You wouldn't give away your money to anyone who asks without thinking. So why do we so easily give away our time and emotional labor? Every yes you say should be intentional, and every no should be a declaration of self-respect. To master the art of saying no, you first need to shift your mindset. Stop viewing no as rejection. Instead, see it as an affirmation of what's truly important to you. When you say no to something that doesn't align with your goals or values, you're actually saying yes to something that does, whether it's your personal growth, your health, or simply your peace of mind. This shift in perspective makes it easier to set boundaries without guilt. Let's be clear. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about teaching others how to interact with you. For example, if you have a colleague who constantly interrupts your workflow with unnecessary requests, setting a boundary might mean politely but firmly saying, "I need uninterrupted time to focus, so I'll get back to you later." Or if you have a friend who often asks for favors but never reciprocates, a boundary could be as simple as saying, "I can't help you this time." These responses aren't harsh. They're honest. And honesty, when delivered with kindness, fosters respect. Of course, not everyone will take your boundaries well, and that's okay. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries are often the first to push back when you start enforcing them. They may try to guilt-trip you, manipulate you, or convince you to bend. But remember, their reaction is not your responsibility. The only responsibility you have is to yourself and to the standards you've set for how you want to be treated. The more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes, and over time you'll notice that the right people will respect your boundaries, while the wrong ones will naturally fade away. A critical aspect of saying no effectively is learning how to deliver it confidently and without over-explaining. One of the biggest mistakes people make when setting boundaries is feeling the need to justify their decisions. For instance, let's say someone invites you to an event and you're not interested in going. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, I can't come because I have a lot of work to do and I'm really tired," try simply saying, "Thank you for the invite, but I won't be able to make it." Short, clear, and respectful. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation, and the more you practice this, the more comfortable it will feel. Practical steps can help you integrate this mindset into your life. Start small. The next time someone asks for your time or energy, pause before you respond. Give yourself a moment to consider whether this request aligns with your priorities. If it doesn't, politely decline. For example, if a colleague asks you to take on a task that isn't part of your responsibilities, say, "I'd love to help, but I'm focusing on my current workload right now." Practice saying no in low-stakes situations to build your confidence for when bigger challenges arise. It's also important to remind yourself that saying no doesn't make you unkind. In fact, it's one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and for others. When you set boundaries, you're showing people how to value your time and energy, which ultimately fosters healthier relationships. By contrast, saying yes when you mean no often leads to resentment and burnout, neither of which serves you or the people around you. The results of mastering this skill are transformative. You'll notice an immediate sense of empowerment as you reclaim your time and energy. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more focused on what truly matters. People will begin to respect your boundaries because you've set the standard for how you want to be treated. And most importantly, you'll start to see yourself as someone who is worthy of saying no to things that don't serve you. So how do you begin? Start with a mantra. Repeat to yourself, "My time is precious. I say no and mean it." Let this phrase guide your decisions, especially in moments when you feel pressured to say yes. Over time, this mindset will become second nature, and you'll find yourself navigating life with a new level of confidence and clarity. In the end, the art of saying no is about more than just protecting your boundaries. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about living life on your terms, without apology or explanation. When you learn to say no with confidence, you're not just drawing a line in the sand. You're building a foundation for a life that honors your time, your energy, and your worth. And that is a life worth living. Number 6, mastering emotional control, becoming unshakable. Have you ever noticed how some people thrive on triggering a reaction from you? They make a careless comment, delay a response, or push your buttons just to see how you'll react. It's a subtle game, but one with a powerful lesson. The person who controls your emotions controls you. If someone can anger you, frustrate you, or throw you off balance, they've won. Emotional control is not just a skill, it's a superpower. And once you master it, you become unshakable. To begin mastering emotional control, you must first shift your perspective. Life will always throw challenges your way. Difficult people, unexpected setbacks, and moments of frustration are inevitable. But what defines you is not what happens, it's how you respond. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It means acknowledging your emotions without allowing them to dictate your actions. Imagine being like a mountain, towering, steady, and unmovable, no matter how fiercely the winds howl or how violently the storm rages. That's the kind of emotional strength we're building. The first step to emotional control is awareness. Pay attention to what triggers you. Is it a certain type of comment? A specific person? A situation where you feel powerless? By identifying your triggers, you gain the power to anticipate and prepare for them. For instance, if you know that a particular colleague's behavior frustrates you, you can mentally brace yourself before interacting with them. Awareness is like shining a light on your emotional reactions. It takes away their ability to blindside you. Next, practice the power of pause. When you feel yourself reacting emotionally, stop. Take a deep breath. Count to 5 or even 10. This momentary pause creates space between the trigger and your response, giving you time to regain control. For example, if someone makes a passive-aggressive comment, instead of snapping back or withdrawing in frustration, pause. Let the comment hang in the air while you decide how or if you want to respond. This pause is where your power lies. It shows that you are in control, not your emotions. Another essential tool in mastering emotional control is reframing. Reframing is the ability to change how you perceive a situation. For example, let's say someone criticizes your work in a meeting. Instead of taking it personally and feeling attacked, reframe the criticism as an opportunity to improve or showcase your ability to handle feedback gracefully. Reframing allows you to shift from being reactive to proactive. It turns obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. Equally important is learning when to disengage. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every comment deserves a response. Emotional control means recognizing when it's better to let go than to engage. Think of it as a chess game. A skilled player doesn't react impulsively to every move their opponent makes. They think several steps ahead. The same principle applies to your emotions. If someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself, does this situation deserve my energy? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be no. By choosing to disengage, you preserve your energy and maintain your composure. Meditation and mindfulness can also be invaluable in developing emotional control. These practices train your mind to focus on the present moment, reducing the power of distractions and emotional triggers. A simple mindfulness exercise is to focus on your breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale through your mouth for a count of 4. This exercise not only calms your mind, but also reinforces your ability to stay centered in stressful situations. Over time, meditation helps you develop a calm and steady state of mind that becomes your default response to challenges. The benefits of mastering emotional control extend far beyond personal satisfaction. When you remain calm and collected, you naturally command respect. People are drawn to those who can maintain their composure under pressure. They see you as a leader, someone who is reliable and confident no matter the circumstances. Moreover, by staying emotionally grounded, you gain clarity and make better decisions. You're no longer reacting out of anger, fear, or frustration. You're responding with intention and purpose. Practical application is key to integrating emotional control into your life. Start by practicing in low-stakes situations. For example, if you're stuck in traffic and feel yourself getting irritated, use it as an opportunity to pause, breathe, and reframe. Instead of focusing on the frustration of the delay, think of it as extra time to listen to a podcast or reflect on your day. As you build this skill in smaller moments, you'll find it easier to apply in more challenging situations, like conflicts at work or disagreements with loved ones. Another powerful mantra to incorporate into your daily life is, "I am in control." Say it to yourself whenever you feel your emotions starting to take over. Let it anchor you, reminding you that no one has the power to pull your strings unless you allow it. Over time, this mindset will become second nature, and you'll notice a profound shift in how you navigate the world. The transformation that comes with mastering emotional control is undeniable. You'll no longer be swayed by the opinions, actions, or provocations of others. You'll feel an inner peace that can't be shaken by external chaos. Most importantly, you'll reclaim the power that comes with being the master of your own emotions. Remember, the strongest person in the room is not the one who yells the loudest or reacts the fastest. It's the one who remains calm, composed, and unshaken. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, pause, breathe, ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? And remember this, your peace is non-negotiable. Protect it fiercely, and let your calm become the strength that others admire. Number 7, becoming the prize. Stop chasing, let them chase you. Imagine a world where you no longer feel the need to prove your worth to anyone. You're no longer running after relationships, opportunities, or validation. Instead, you're standing still, centered in your own value, and everything you once chased is now drawn to you. This isn't a fantasy. It's a shift in perspective and behavior that turns you into the prize. And the truth is, the right people and opportunities don't need to be chased. They'll naturally gravitate towards someone who knows their worth. To become the prize, you first need to stop the chase. Think about it. The more you pursue something, the more elusive it becomes. This applies to relationships, careers, and even social interactions. The energy of chasing often signals desperation, and desperation is never attractive. Instead, it repels. Imagine two magnets. When you push them together with force, they resist each other. But when you create the right amount of space, they're irresistibly drawn together. The same principle works in life. Stop chasing and let the pull work in your favor. Becoming the prize is about shifting your focus inward. Instead of pouring all your energy into seeking external validation, redirect it toward building a life that feels fulfilling and meaningful to you. This starts with recognizing your intrinsic value. You don't need someone else's attention, approval, or recognition to confirm your worth. You are valuable simply because you exist. When you truly believe this, it radiates outward in your demeanor, your confidence, and your energy. People are naturally drawn to those who exude self-assurance. Not arrogance, but a quiet confidence that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it to anyone." One of the most effective ways to embody this mindset is to raise your standards. Ask yourself, what am I tolerating that no longer aligns with my worth? It could be one-sided relationships, low-effort interactions, or unfulfilling commitments. By setting higher standards, you send a clear message to yourself and others that you know your value and won't settle for less. This doesn't mean being unreasonable or demanding. It means being intentional about where you invest your time and energy. When you stop settling for crumbs, you create space for the feast you deserve. Another key aspect of becoming the prize is cultivating mystery. In a world where oversharing has become the norm, there's something undeniably attractive about someone who doesn't reveal everything at once. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about maintaining a sense of privacy and selectivity. When you're not an open book, people are naturally curious about what makes you tick. They'll want to know more about you because they don't feel entitled to all of you. This doesn't mean being distant or aloof. It means being intentional about what you share and with whom. Practical steps can help you embody this mindset. First, focus on your personal growth. Invest in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, whether it's pursuing a hobby, learning a new skill, or prioritizing your health. When you're genuinely engaged in building a life you love, you'll find that you no longer have the time or energy to chase external validation. Second, learn to enjoy your own company. When you're comfortable being alone, you no longer need to seek out connections for the sake of avoiding loneliness. This self-sufficiency is incredibly attractive and empowering. Another powerful strategy is to master the art of scarcity. Don't always be available. Whether it's in relationships or social settings, make your time and energy something others must earn. If you're always accessible, people may start to take you for granted. But when you create space and set boundaries, you remind others that your presence is a privilege, not a given. As you adopt these practices, you'll notice a shift in how people perceive you. They'll start putting in more effort to be around you because they'll recognize that your attention is valuable. More importantly, you'll feel a shift within yourself. You'll no longer feel the need to chase after people or opportunities because you'll know that the right ones will find their way to you. This isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. And self-respect is magnetic. The results of becoming the prize are profound. You'll attract higher quality relationships, both personally and professionally, because people who value you will rise to meet your standards. You'll feel more confident and at peace, knowing that you no longer need to seek external validation to feel whole. And most importantly, you'll reclaim your power, the power to live life on your own terms, without apology or compromise. Let this be your mantra. I attract, I don't chase. Say it, believe it, and live it. Each time you feel the urge to pursue someone or something, pause. Remind yourself that you are the prize, and the right people and opportunities will align with you naturally. Trust the process and watch as your energy shifts and your life transforms. Remember, being the prize isn't about playing hard to get or manipulating others. It's about recognizing your worth and living in alignment with it. It's about knowing that you deserve effort, respect, and genuine connection, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. So stop chasing, stand still in your power, and let the world come to you. Number 8, time as a precious resource. Making them earn your minutes. Time is the one thing we all crave more of, yet it's also the most squandered resource in our lives. You can earn back money, regain energy, and rebuild relationships. But once a moment has passed, it's gone forever. So ask yourself, how often do you let others waste your time? How often do you give it away freely to people who haven't earned it? To reclaim control over your life, you must start treating your time like the precious, limited currency it is. The truth is, people respect what they have to work for, and your time should be no exception. Imagine this. You've rearranged your entire schedule for someone who barely acknowledges the effort. You've waited for hours for a meeting that could have been an email. You've paused your life because someone else demanded your attention without offering the same in return. Enough of that. Starting today, you're going to make people earn your time, and in doing so, you'll elevate your self-worth and command greater respect. The first step to valuing your time is to identify where it's being wasted. Look at your day-to-day interactions and commitments. Are there recurring patterns where your time is being drained by activities or people that add no value to your life? For example, maybe you're spending hours in conversations that don't energize or inspire you. Or perhaps you're constantly saying yes to requests that leave you overcommitted and exhausted. Recognizing these patterns is crucial because awareness is the foundation of change. Once you've identified the time wasters, the next step is to set boundaries. This doesn't mean cutting people off or being dismissive. It means being clear and intentional about how you allocate your time. If someone frequently interrupts your workflow with trivial requests, let them know you're unavailable during certain hours. If you're invited to an event that doesn't align with your priorities, decline politely but firmly. Remember, saying no isn't about rejection. It's about protecting what's valuable to you. Each time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to something that fuels you. Making people earn your time also requires shifting how you view availability. Many of us fall into the trap of thinking that being constantly accessible makes us more likable or dependable. But in reality, it often leads to burnout and resentment. Instead, consider creating scarcity around your time. When people know they can't have your attention whenever they want, they begin to value the moments they do get with you. This doesn't mean playing games or being aloof. It means showing others that your time is not an unlimited resource and they need to respect it. Another powerful way to make people earn your time is by raising the bar for how you spend it. For instance, instead of wasting hours on small talk or superficial interactions, Seek out conversations and activities that bring depth and meaning to your life. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and uplift you. When you prioritize quality over quantity, you'll find that your time becomes infinitely more fulfilling. Practical steps can help you implement these changes. Start by auditing your calendar. Look at the commitments you've made for the next week and ask yourself, does this add value to my life? If the answer is no, consider rescheduling, delegating, or declining. Next, set clear time blocks for yourself where you're entirely off limits to others. Whether it's to focus on work, pursue a hobby, or simply relax. Communicate these boundaries clearly to the people in your life so they understand and respect them. It's also important to make the most of the time you do share with others. When you decide to spend time with someone, be fully present. Put away distractions, engage actively, and make the interaction meaningful. This not only enriches your relationships, but also reinforces the idea that your time is valuable because you treat it as such. As you start valuing your time more, you'll notice a shift in how others treat you. People will approach you with greater respect, knowing that your attention is not something to be taken lightly. They'll think twice before wasting your time and will prioritize their interactions with you. Most importantly, you'll feel a sense of empowerment and freedom that comes from knowing you're in control of how you spend your days. Let this be your mantra. My time is precious, and I will not waste it. Say it to yourself each morning as a reminder to stay intentional with your minutes. Each time you feel pressured to say yes to something that doesn't serve you, pause and reflect on whether it aligns with your goals and values. The more you practice this, the easier it will become to protect your time without guilt or hesitation. In the end, valuing your time is about valuing yourself. It's about recognizing that your minutes are not just moments. They're building blocks of the life you want to create. When you make people earn your time, you send a clear message to the world. You are someone whose presence is worth cherishing, whose attention is worth earning, and whose time is far too valuable to be wasted. And that is a message no one can ignore. Number 9, raise your standards. Stop settling for less. If you keep settling for crumbs, you'll never experience the feast you truly deserve. It's a harsh truth, but one that can transform your life if you're willing to face it. Too often, we convince ourselves that it's okay to accept less than we want. Maybe we tell ourselves it's better than nothing, or this is as good as it gets. But deep down, you know that's not true. Settling isn't just about accepting less from others, it's about betraying yourself. It's time to stop settling and start raising your standards. Raising your standards begins with recognizing your worth. You are not an afterthought, a convenience, or someone's second choice. You are a person with unique value, and you deserve relationships, opportunities, and experiences that reflect that. But here's the catch. The world won't treat you better until you demand better. And demanding better doesn't come from asking or begging. It comes from how you carry yourself, the boundaries you set, and the standards you refuse to compromise. Think about this. If you walk into a 5-star restaurant, would you accept being served cold, bland food? Of course not. So why would you accept less in your relationships, your career, or your personal goals? The moment you allow someone to treat you as an option, you send the message that it's okay to do so. But when you raise your standards, you set the tone for how others treat you. And those who value you will rise to meet your expectations, while those who don't will naturally fade away. One of the first steps to raising your standards is identifying where you've been settling. Take a hard look at your relationships. Are there people in your life who consistently put in minimal effort yet expect you to give your all? Are you staying in a job that drains you because you're afraid of stepping into something better? Are you accepting less than you deserve because you fear being alone or uncomfortable? These are tough questions, but they're necessary to break free from the cycle of settling. Once you've identified where you've been settling, the next step is to redefine your standards. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? What kind of treatment do I deserve? What kind of life am I willing to work for? Write these answers down. Be specific. For example, if you want better relationships, define what that looks like. Perhaps it means mutual effort, clear communication, and respect for your boundaries. If you want a more fulfilling career, outline what that entails, whether it's a supportive work environment, a role that aligns with your passions, or a salary that reflects your skills. After redefining your standards, it's time to enforce them. This is where many people struggle, because enforcing standards often means making difficult decisions. It might mean walking away from a relationship where your needs aren't being met. It could mean saying no to a job offer that doesn't align with your goals. It might even mean letting go of habits or routines that are holding you back. Enforcing standards isn't easy, but it's necessary if you want to create a life that reflects your worth. Raising your standards also means embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. When you stop settling, you're stepping into unfamiliar territory. You're leaving behind the safety of what's familiar, even if that familiarity was unfulfilling. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's also where transformation happens. Each time you choose to uphold your standards instead of settling, you're reinforcing your self-worth and building a foundation for the life you truly want. Practical steps can help you make this shift. Start by setting clear, non-negotiable boundaries in your relationships. For instance, if someone frequently cancels plans at the last minute, let them know that your time is valuable and that you won't continue making plans with them if they don't respect it. In your career, advocate for yourself, whether it's asking for a raise, seeking a new role, or pursuing a completely different path. And in your personal life, commit to investing in yourself. Take that course you've been putting off, prioritize your health, or dedicate time to a passion project. These actions send a clear message. You are no longer willing to settle for less. As you raise your standards, you'll notice that your life begins to shift. People who once treated you casually will either step up or step away. Opportunities that align with your higher standards will start to appear. Not because the world has magically changed, but because you've changed what you're willing to accept. Most importantly, you'll feel a deep sense of self-respect and empowerment. You'll realize that you don't need to tolerate anything that doesn't align with your worth. Let this be your mantra. I demand more and settle for nothing less. Say it to yourself each morning, write it down, and keep it somewhere you'll see often. Use it as a reminder to uphold your standards, even when it's difficult. The more you live by this mantra, the more you'll attract the relationships, opportunities, and experiences that reflect your true value. In the end, raising your standards isn't just about creating a better life. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be. It's about stepping into your power, honoring your worth, and refusing to accept anything less than what you deserve. And when you live with that kind of conviction, the world has no choice but to rise to meet you. Number 10, sealing your lips. The power of no explanations. In a world where everyone feels the need to justify their every move, there's immense power in keeping your words to yourself. Think about how often you explain your decisions, your actions, or even your boundaries to others. Whether it's declining an invitation, making a personal choice, or prioritizing your peace, we've been conditioned to believe that we owe everyone an explanation. The truth is, you don't. There is a unique strength in silence, and learning to seal your lips can transform the way people perceive and respect you. Every time you explain yourself, you're giving away a piece of your power. You're inviting others to question your choices, as if they have the right to approve or disapprove of your life. For example, when you decline an invitation and immediately follow it up with an excuse, "I can't make it because I'm busy with work," you leave room for the other person to push back. They might say, "Can't you make time?" Or, "It's just for a little while." But when you simply say, "Thank you, but I won't be able to make it," the conversation ends there. Your decision is final, and there's nothing left to debate. This doesn't mean you need to be cold or dismissive. Instead, it's about setting a precedent that your choices are yours to make, without needing validation from anyone else. When you stop over-explaining, you teach others that your boundaries are not negotiable. This shift in behavior not only commands respect, but also frees you from the mental and emotional burden of constantly justifying yourself. Sealing your lips also creates an aura of mystery. People are naturally curious about what they don't know. The less you explain, the more others will wonder, and in their wondering, they'll invest more thought and attention in you. Consider someone you admire who speaks sparingly. Their words carry weight, not because they're loud or frequent, but because they're intentional. You can embody that same energy by choosing your words carefully and letting your actions speak for themselves. There's also a psychological advantage to saying less. When you offer fewer details, people are left to fill in the blanks. This often works in your favor because human nature tends to assume competence and strength in those who appear composed and unbothered. By keeping your explanations to a minimum, you convey confidence and control, showing that you're grounded in your decisions and don't feel the need to defend them. To master the power of no explanations, start small. The next time someone asks why you've made a particular choice, resist the urge to elaborate. For instance, if a colleague questions why you're not taking on extra work, simply say, "That doesn't align with my priorities right now." If a friend asks why you're unavailable, reply with, "I have other commitments." Short, simple, and firm. Notice how freeing it feels to stand by your decisions without feeling the need to explain. Another key to sealing your lips is learning to embrace silence in conversations. When someone pushes for more details or tries to pry, let the silence linger. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but silence is a powerful tool. It forces the other person to sit with the boundary you've set and often discourages further probing. This doesn't mean you're being rude. It means you're valuing your peace over someone else's curiosity. Practical steps can help you integrate this mindset into your life. First, practice pausing before you respond to questions. Give yourself a moment to decide how much you actually want to share. Second, use neutral statements to close conversations. Phrases like, "I've made my decision," or "That's what works best for me," are effective ways to end discussions without inviting pushback. Third, remind yourself that not everything needs to be explained. Some decisions, like prioritizing your mental health or taking a day for yourself, are valid without justification. Over time, you'll notice that sealing your lips not only simplifies your interactions, but also empowers you. People will begin to respect your boundaries because they'll see that you're confident in setting them. You'll also feel a greater sense of control over your life, knowing that your decisions are yours alone to make. Most importantly, you'll conserve your energy for what truly matters, rather than wasting it on unnecessary explanations. Let this be your mantra. I move in silence, no explanations needed. Say it whenever you feel the urge to over-explain. Let it ground you in the knowledge that your choices are valid, regardless of whether others understand them. Each time you choose silence over justification, you're reaffirming your self-worth and teaching the world to respect your boundaries. Remember, silence isn't about withholding, it's about reclaiming. It's about protecting your peace, your energy, and your autonomy. When you stop explaining yourself, you create space for others to see your strength, and in that space, respect is born. So the next time someone asks for an explanation, pause, smile, and remember, you owe no one your truth. Number 11, glow up and keep them wondering. Picture this. The same people who once underestimated you, who barely noticed your worth, are now left stunned. They see a version of you they never expected, stronger, more confident, and undeniably magnetic. The best part? They can't quite figure out how it happened. That's the beauty of a glow-up that's done in silence. When you focus on your growth, not for anyone else, but purely for yourself, the transformation is more powerful than words could ever explain. A glow-up isn't just about appearance. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, inside and out. It's about evolving in ways that make you proud of who you are. The key is to prioritize your own growth without seeking validation or broadcasting every step of the journey. This quiet revolution of self-improvement creates an air of mystery and respect. People will notice the changes in you, but they won't know exactly how or when they happened. And that's the point. Let them wonder. Start with the foundation, your mindset. A true glow-up begins from within. It's not just about how you look, it's about how you think, feel, and carry yourself. This means addressing negative self-talk and replacing it with empowering thoughts. Tell yourself, I am worthy, I am capable, and I am growing every day. Commit to being kinder to yourself, recognizing your achievements, and embracing your imperfections as part of the journey. When your mindset shifts, everything else follows. Next, focus on your physical health. Not to impress others, but to feel stronger, healthier, and more energized. Prioritize regular exercise, even if it's just a 30-minute walk each day. Make small changes to your diet that nourish your body, like drinking more water or incorporating more whole foods. These habits don't just improve your appearance, they also enhance your mood and energy levels, making you feel unstoppable. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Each small step you take contributes to a larger transformation. While working on your physical health, don't neglect your emotional well-being. Take time to heal from past wounds, let go of grudges, and protect your peace. This could mean journaling, seeking therapy, or simply taking moments of solitude to reflect and recharge. Emotional growth is the most underrated aspect of a glow-up, yet it's the one that radiates the most powerfully. When you're emotionally grounded, you exude a calm confidence that draws people in. As you elevate yourself internally and externally, you'll notice a shift in your energy. People will begin to perceive you differently, not because you've told them about your growth, but because they can feel it. This is the power of letting your actions speak louder than words. You don't need to announce your glow-up or seek acknowledgement. When you're genuinely focused on your growth, the results speak for themselves, and the curiosity it sparks in others is a natural byproduct. One of the most liberating aspects of a glow-up is realizing that you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You're not transforming to make others notice or regret how they treated you. You're doing it for you, because you deserve to live your best life. This shift in motivation makes your glow-up sustainable and deeply fulfilling. When your growth is rooted in self-love, it becomes unshakable. To keep the momentum of your glow-up, establish routines that align with your goals. For example, if mental clarity is a priority, incorporate meditation or mindfulness practices into your daily routine. If financial stability is part of your transformation, commit to budgeting or exploring new opportunities to increase your income. Growth is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process of building habits that support the life you want to create. As you progress, resist the urge to overshare. Social media has made it tempting to document every milestone, but part of the power of a glow-up lies in its quiet execution. Share selectively, if at all. Let your actions and energy do the talking. The less you reveal, the more others will wonder, and that mystery is incredibly compelling. People are drawn to what they can't fully understand, and your silence becomes a statement in itself. The result of this silent transformation is profound. You'll feel a renewed sense of confidence, not because of how others view you, but because of how you view yourself. You'll realize that your worth was never dependent on external validation, it was always within you. And as you continue to grow, the right people will naturally gravitate toward you, while the wrong ones will fade away. Let this be your mantra: I glow up for me. Say it every day, write it down, let it guide your actions, and remind you why you're on this journey. Each time you choose self-improvement over external validation, you're taking a step closer to the life you deserve. And as you evolve, you'll inspire others, not because you tried to, but because your growth speaks for itself. In the end, the best revenge isn't about making others regret their actions. It's about living so fully and authentically that their opinions no longer matter. Your glow-up is yours alone, a testament to your strength, resilience, and commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. So keep growing, keep shining, and let them wonder how you did it. Number 12, the strength of saying no. Guarding your energy. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to your own peace, priorities, and growth. This is one of life's harshest truths, but it's also the most empowering. Learning to say no isn't about shutting others out. It's about letting yourself in. It's about drawing a clear line between what deserves your energy and what doesn't, and refusing to let guilt or obligation dictate your choices. Think about how often you've said yes when you really wanted to say no. Maybe it was to avoid conflict, to maintain harmony, or because you felt pressured to be agreeable. But every yes you didn't mean slowly chipped away at your time, energy, and sense of self-worth. Saying no, on the other hand, is a radical act of self-care. It's not selfish, it's necessary. The power of saying no lies in what it protects: your energy, your peace, and your ability to focus on what truly matters. Energy is not an infinite resource. Every commitment, every favor, every small yes takes a piece of your mental, emotional, or physical energy. If you keep giving it away freely, you'll find yourself depleted, resentful, and stretched too thin. Guarding your energy means recognizing that not everyone and everything deserves your attention. To master the strength of saying no, you need to redefine how you perceive it. Saying no isn't rejection, it's redirection. It's choosing to invest your time and energy into something that aligns with your values and goals. Imagine someone asking for your time or a favor, and you instinctively feel the pull to agree. Instead of saying yes out of habit, pause and ask yourself, does this align with what I want for my life? Will this drain or empower me? If the answer isn't a clear yes, then the decision should be a no. Learning to say no confidently starts with small steps. Begin by practicing with low-stakes situations. If a coworker asks you to take on an extra task you don't have time for, respond with something like, "I'd love to help, but my current workload won't allow it." If a friend invites you to an event you're not interested in, simply say, "Thanks for the invite, but I'll have to pass." Notice how liberating it feels to honor your boundaries without over-explaining. Another key to guarding your energy is recognizing when someone is trying to manipulate your yes. Some people will use guilt, pressure, or flattery to get what they want. They might say, "You'd do this if you really cared," or "It won't take much of your time." When you encounter this, remind yourself that someone else's opinion of your boundaries doesn't invalidate them. Your no doesn't require approval or understanding. It simply requires conviction. A powerful tool for mastering this skill is using what I call the graceful decline. Instead of over-explaining or apologizing, use a simple, direct response. For example, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not available. I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to decline. That's not something I can commit to right now." These responses are firm yet respectful, leaving no room for negotiation while maintaining grace. It's also important to remember that saying no isn't just about others. It's about you. Every no is an opportunity to say yes to yourself. It's about reclaiming the time and energy you need to prioritize your goals, recharge your spirit, and focus on what truly matters. When you guard your energy, you create space for growth, creativity, and fulfillment. The transformation that comes with saying no is life-changing. You'll notice that people start respecting your time and boundaries more. Those who don't respect them will naturally drift away. And while that may feel uncomfortable at first, it's ultimately a gift. You're making room for healthier, more reciprocal relationships, both personally and professionally. Let this be your mantra. My energy is sacred, and I protect it fiercely. Repeat it to yourself whenever you feel pressured to say yes to something that doesn't serve you. Over time, this mindset will become second nature, and you'll find it easier to make decisions that honor your boundaries. In the end, the strength of saying no is about more than just protecting your energy. It's about reclaiming your life. It's about living on your own terms, unapologetically, and refusing to let external demands dictate your path. When you learn to say no with confidence and conviction, you're not just guarding your energy, you're asserting your worth, and that is a power no one can take away from you. You've spent too much of your life giving away your energy, time, and peace to people and situations that didn't deserve them. But now you stand on the brink of transformation. Over the past chapters, you've explored the power of silence, the value of your time, the strength in saying no, and the limitless potential within you when you stop chasing and start owning your worth. This is your moment to reclaim your power and live life on your own terms. The tools are already in your hands. When you master the art of stepping back, you command attention without uttering a word. When you make people earn your time, they begin to value it. When you stop settling for crumbs and start demanding the feast you deserve, your relationships and opportunities transform. And when you glow up quietly, focusing on your own growth and fulfillment, you become the person others can't help but respect and admire. This isn't about manipulation or games, It's about stepping into the power that's been yours all along. Change isn't easy. You'll face resistance, both from others and from within yourself. People who are used to taking advantage of your kindness may push back when you set boundaries. You may feel uncomfortable stepping away from old habits or saying no to things that no longer serve you. But discomfort is the price of growth, and every step you take toward reclaiming your power is a step toward the life you deserve. Imagine a future where you wake up every day with a sense of purpose and confidence, knowing that your time and energy are spent on what truly matters. A life where your presence commands respect, your boundaries are honored, and your peace is unshaken. That future isn't a dream. It's the natural result of living in alignment with your worth. Let this be your guiding mantra. I am worthy, I am powerful, and I live on my own terms. Say it to yourself every day. Write it down where you'll see it often. Let it become the foundation of the choices you make and the boundaries you set. Because the truth is, the life you want starts with the standards you hold for yourself. Now is the time to act. Take the first step, however small, toward embodying the principles you've learned. Whether it's setting a boundary, saying no to something that drains you, or investing in your personal growth, every action matters. Each decision you make to honor your worth brings you closer to the life you've always envisioned. And as you move forward, remember, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to seek validation or chase approval. You are enough just as you are, and your presence alone is a gift. The world will adjust to the new you, not the other way around. Thank you for taking this journey. If this message resonates with you, let it guide your actions, inspire your growth, and fuel your transformation. You are capable of so much more than you've allowed yourself to believe. It's time to stop waiting for the life you want and start creating it. Your time is now. Claim it, own it, live it.